Fox News alert on a stunning development in Washington. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes announcing Trump team communications may have been incidentally scooped up during routine surveillance of other targets and possibly improperly distributed.
What I've read seems to me to be some level of surveillance activity, perhaps legal, but I don't know that it's right, and I don't know that the American people would be comfortable with what I've read. There's two issues here, okay? There's additional unmasking of names, which I think is totally inappropriate, and then you have the issue of the names that were put into these intelligence reports.
Chairman Nunes made that announcement after briefing the White House on his findings. A reporter asked Mr. Trump about it.
Do you feel vindicated by Chairman Nunes coming over there?
I somewhat do. I must tell you, I somewhat do. I very much appreciated the fact that they found what they found, but I somewhat do.
But the top Democrat on the Intel Committee slamming Chairman Nunes for failing to share his findings with the committee before going to the White House and the press. And now he's repeating his calls for an independent commission.
The chairman will need to decide whether he is the chairman of an independent investigation into conduct which includes allegations of potential coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russians, or he is going to act as a surrogate of the White House because he cannot do both. And unfortunately, I think the actions of today throw great doubt into the ability of both the chairman and the committee to conduct the investigation the way it ought to be conducted.
And there's more. Another Democrat on the House Intel Committee says Nunes apologized today for going public before looping in members. Nunes later said he thinks he can still run the investigation and tries to be fair to everyone. Okay, obviously going to you first, Pete. Can you explain to me what incidentally collected communications means?
It's consistent with what a lot of people thought may have happened, whether it was surveillance whether they were trying to find out whether there's connection between Trump and Russia or elsewhere. If you're monitoring foreign agents through a FISA court, you're listening to both sides potentially, but you're only supposed to be keeping info from the foreign agent. It could have been incidentally collected that someone else was on that line, then it was declassified, then it was pushed around. It's very consistent with what Trump and others in his campaign, transition, and presidency have alleged probably happened, whether it was technically wiretapping or not. There was some level of surveillance. Trump folks were included on one side of that, and then there was an irresponsible dispersion of those names and that information, which has led to prolific leaks and this sort of ongoing drip, drip, drip that somehow they're in collusion with the Russians, which has never been proven. So this does, I think, validate a lot of what President Trump has alleged, and I'd like to dig deeper and find out exactly what he knows.
How do we dig deeper?
Well, I think the committee can dig deeper. I know folks like Marie Harf are going to say they can't do it, they're not independent enough. Listen, I think he had information he brought to him probably recently that blows the doors open on the fact that there really was some level of surveillance, and let's keep digging, and the committee can do that.
So then what you're talking about is whether or not Nunes and the others have enough independence based on the fact that Nunes repeated that intelligence information to the president.
Well, he communicated it generally, and then publicly was pretty responsible about how he did it.
Okay, so what he said to the Intel Committee, just so that we're clear today about that apology, is it's a judgment call on my part. And he goes on to say, at the end of the day, sometimes you make the right decision, sometimes you don't. I guess that's a loose apology. It's an acknowledgement that perhaps he didn't do the right thing.
Let's get an apology from all the leakers, from all the people that are leaking classified information.
That would require that they come forward.
Let's keep our outrage where it deserves to be.
Megan, I wanted to bring in Senator John McCain on why he says that he is, you know him, why he's calling for a select committee or a special committee. Listen.
The reason why I'm calling for this select committee or a special committee is I think that this back and forth and what the American people have found out so far, that no longer does the Congress have credibility to handle this alone. And I don't say that lightly.
But he said it. Marie?
I could not agree more. I think what Chairman Nunes did yesterday was totally undercut his independence as an oversight chairman. If you can imagine the
totally undercut.
Yes.
He's got a lot of credibility.
Yes, I do. And listen, can you imagine if Hillary Clinton had won and Adam Schiff had gotten information about the FBI investigation into her emails and went to the White House and briefed Hillary and briefed the press before talking to his fellow committee members, the outrage we would have on the Republican side.
Well, that meeting would have happened on a tarmac.
We have to. That's a great. That's a great joke. But let's go to where we are right now, where there is a Republican chairman supposed to be in an oversight role,
which he is, and has responsibly
who got
done so.
information and not going to his fellow committee members, went to the press and talked about, by the way, probably classified information. If he talked about unmasking, like I was in the intelligence community too, he probably touched on something he shouldn't have, and then went to the White House, who is the subject of an ongoing investigation. Even if you think there's no wrongdoing there, it looks terrible, and he shouldn't have done it, and we need a special prosecutor or a select committee.
It's a judgment call.
So there's actually
And that's what he called it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, listen, you go to the press.
he made the wrong
What's
one.
interesting about this, remember the timeline of the tweets. The tweets came before, obviously, Representative Nunes went to the White House. So the president is saying he feels somewhat vindicated. He already knew something. So not to put all of this on Nunes, the president had already made a call that he knew something.
The root of this issue,
Yes.
though, as Pete pointed out, which, again, we got to get to the baseline of this instead of just politicizing on both sides, is if they did, incidentally collect information and keep information on President Trump when they weren't supposed to, if they were just supposed to be spying on Russia. Yes, because he's an American. That is, I assume, you know a lot more about this than I do. It's completely against the law. So all of the, I have been saying that we need more information. We need everyone to be more candid about exactly what they know. And if this is in fact true, there's a lot of crow a lot of Democrats are going to have to be eating regarding the fact that they said his tweets were like completely baseless and conspiratorial.
If Hillary Clinton had won, they were just going to bury all this. She wouldn't have had it. Would never have seen the light of day. Then Trump won, and everyone goes, "Oops."
So can I ask you?
Now we've got now he's going to have the opportunity to unmask this. I know people that know, and in this case, I do think there was information that got to President Trump
if this is
that led him to believe he was being surveilled, whether it's wiretapped or not. Yeah, now it's making its way. There's so much stuff floating out there, unfortunately.
What happens? Like, do a lot of people get fired? I mean, talk about a complete breakdown of trust between the American public and the intelligence community, because it shows it is, verifiable proof they're this politicized. But if it ends up being true, what happens?
Well, I think people get fired. You're right. People get indicted potentially. I mean, when you leak classified information and you go to the press with it, that is a punishable offense. But you and I were talking about it before the show. We're even confused at this point about where this all is, who knows what's legal, what isn't.
It's hard to keep track of.
It's really hard to keep track of.
I like the way you boiled it all the way down to, can we just get to the leakers? Because that's what we're talking about here.
Well, we're also talking about leakers of an investigation about Russian involvement in our election system, which I think Republicans and Democrats can both agree we need answers to. We need to find out exactly what happened, not as a partisan witch hunt, but because we care about our democracy. Leaks matter, but the bigger picture of the investigation into Russia also matters, and we cannot forget about that.
That's true. It's just the obfuscation of an investigation into influence over the election versus collusion between Russia.
Yeah.
The Democrats use that collusion thing to discredit him, and you got to separate that out too.
Well, this story's definitely not going away. Thanks for breaking it down, though, Pete. Okay, and the man in the thick of it all right now, House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, will speak to our own Sean Hannity tonight, so tune in at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's all right here on the Fox News Channel.